from the news station. This is 7 News at 6:30.
7 News at 6:30 continues to work a developing story tonight. A new property insurance bill passing the state legislature, assuring that you will be in for some rate relief. Good evening and good news, everybody. Lawmakers overwhelmingly approving a plan to stem skyrocketing rates.
And now it's up to the governor to sign off on the bill, and we've just heard from Charlie Crist himself. 7's Dave Cartoonan live in Tallahassee with the breaking developments. Dave?
Lynn, that's the last big step we have heard from the governor. And while he didn't come right out and say that he plans to sign this bill, he did everything but.
We are going to lower rates in a meaningful way, and it's going to actually happen. This is a great beginning. This is a great start. It's exactly what the people of Florida expected us to do. When you work together to do what's right, anything can happen. They said it.
So just a few minutes before Governor Crist spoke, both houses of the legislature, you're looking at the Senate here, passed overwhelmingly this insurance rate relief bill. The House passed it 116-2. The Senate passed it unanimously, 40-0. Let's take you now to what this bill would do. First, it would set up a hurricane super catastrophe fund using $32 billion of public money to give cheap reinsurance, that backup insurance that private companies need to lower your rates. They think that they can do that. If we move to the next item now, private reinsurance companies, if you have a private policy, think on average they'll be able to lower your windstorm rates on average 30%. For customers of State Farm, you should know it could be a bit lower. If we take you to the last item, though, it's not as good for customers of Citizens Insurance. And of course, there are 400,000 policyholders of Citizens Insurance in South Florida. They can expect a 15% rate reduction. But the good news on top of that is that they have also frozen your rates from last year's rate. So whatever you paid last year, you can expect an average reduction of about 15%. As we come back out live here in Tallahassee, we've collected plenty of reaction from lawmakers all over South Florida. The reaction, of course, all of them voted for it. However, it is a tepid reaction. Many of them had hoped to have done more, but they reiterated what the governor just said, saying at least it's a good start. We'll have much more coming up later on 7 News at 10. For now, we're live in Tallahassee. Dave Cartoonan, 7 News.
All right, in other news tonight, police arresting 2 crooks caught on camera accused of stealing very expensive hardware from their high school. The teenagers caught on camera taking more than $50,000 worth of laptop computers from Sheridan Technical Center. This is in Hollywood. Police say they broke into the school on January 13th using a screwdriver. The 2 teenagers then sold the computers on the streets.
I think it's ridiculous that people steal computers from schools where people that actually need to be online and to do research about cars and stuff get ripped off for no reason.
Those teenagers are now charged with burglary.
An NFL quarterback cleared after causing controversy at a South Florida airport. The Atlanta Falcons' Michael Vick will not face any charges. Vick hesitated to surrender a water bottle when he passed through a security checkpoint at Miami International Airport last week. It contained a secret compartment filled with what investigators thought was marijuana residue. Tests proved otherwise.
Something sparking danger at a South Florida apartment complex. Smoke coming from one unit along the 2800 block of Northwest 135th Street in Opelika. A malfunctioning air conditioning unit may be to blame for the blaze. Everything inside charred. A pet dog suffered smoke inhalation.
Inside Iraq, and today marking the single deadliest attack against civilians in 2 months. The news coming just a day before President Bush's State of the Union address. Reporter Kyung Law is live in our nation's capital with more tonight. Kyung.
Well, good evening, Tom. On this eve of the State of the Union address, all this renewed violence in Iraq now threatens to overshadow the president's address. Twin car bombs ripped through a crowded outdoor market in central Baghdad. The explosives were packed with nails and shrapnel to inflict maximum damage, the deadliest bombing so far this year. Monday's violence follows a bloody weekend for the U.S. military. A senior military officer says hostile fire may have downed a Black Hawk, killing 12 U.S. troops northeast of Baghdad. And in Karbala, 5 U.S. soldiers were killed by armed militants dressed as members of the U.S. military. These attacks came as the U.S. military announced 3,200 additional U.S. soldiers will be operational in a week and a half, and as the president prepares the State of the Union address.
George W. Bush as a president is not somebody who is going to cease to be bold because because right now people are concerned about the progress of the war.
But warnings to the president from his own party. House Minority Leader John Boehner, who supports the president's increase of U.S. forces, will demand the president report to Congress every 30 days in writing on progress in the war. And a key Senate Republican voiced his opposition to the troop increase.
We say to Mr. President, go back and look at all the options.
On the eve of the president's speech, al-Qaeda's second-in-command ridiculed Mr. Bush's plan for a troop increase. Ayman al-Zawahiri warned the American people the current policy will not lead to peace. Now, the White House says the president will spend much of this evening and tomorrow shoring up the State of the Union address. Tomorrow, he says that he won't be focusing on Iraq as a major issue. The president is choosing instead to focus on domestic ones. Live in Washington, Kyung La, 7 News.
Thank you, Kyung. You can watch the president's speech live tomorrow night at 9 o'clock right here on Channel 7.
The Justice Department finding the FBI partly at fault in the Mark Foley sex scandal. The department releasing a report saying the Bureau should have protected teenaged House pages when it initially learned of the explicit emails. The report also stating the FBI tried to cover up its knowledge of the exchange between Foley and the male pages. Foley resigned from office last September when those emails surfaced.
There's much more ahead tonight on 7 News at 6:30. Coming up here, a ship in trouble at sea, and that's bringing out some scavengers on shore. We'll explain that.
Also, one man going over the edge and a dramatic rescue taking place.
And a desert turning into a winter wonderland.
7 News, brought to you in part by El Dorado Furniture, a different kind of furniture store. Closed captioning, brought to you in part by Ashley Furniture Home Store, now open at Sawgrass Mills, Davie, and Kendall.
Welcome back, everybody. A whole lot of trouble for a listing cargo ship. Not only is it leaking toxic chemicals, but a lot of its containers are sliding into the sea. Quite a treacherous tilt for that ship in distress, drawing droves to the beach, not to witness the rescue of the freighter, but for the scavenger hunt.
Trying to set, that's about it.
Scavengers by the dozen storming a beach in southwest England, grabbing all they can.
A basket and a bowl so far, but lots of Bibles, which is quite sad.
The items coming ashore from a cargo ship beached off the southern English coast. The crew stranding the freighter during a violent storm in the English Channel to prevent sinking. 200 of the vessel's containers have gone overboard, and 3 of them contain hazardous material like battery acid. But perhaps the biggest concern is the 200 tons of oil that has already leaked out of the ship.
To me, it looks awful. I think it's really sad, but we always come down here fishing, and we won't be fishing for a long time, I don't think, so I think it's really sad.
Police are also patrolling the beach, but that isn't slowing the scavengers, who are cracking open crates and taking off with items like clothing, car parts, and even a motorcycle.
I came down with my daughter-in-law. She persuaded me to come down this morning, have a look.
Rather than recovering the goods, crew members are more concerned with stabilizing the ship and preventing an environmental disaster. Once the ship is stabilized, its fuel containers will be drained and the vessel will be towed ashore. All of this could take as long as a week.
A rescue in Southern California in a canyon there. A driver flying off the road and plunging 150 feet into the crevice there. Well, he managed to get himself out of the car, but crews needed to pull him up on a gurney. He was lucky. He suffered only minor injuries. A driver asleep at the wheel causing chaos in Connecticut. The driver dozing off, police say, accidentally crossing all lanes of oncoming traffic and smashing into the plumbing store in West Haven. The impact so strong, the building was lifted from its foundation. Luckily, no one was inside at the time and the driver was not hurt. And a major winter storm affecting the desert of all places. Residents in Phoenix waking up to 1.5 inches of snow that fell overnight. A very strange sight to see where usually dry cacti is covered with flakes. It Wasn't all nice, however, with the weather causing dangerous driving conditions. You know, they're not used to it out there. More snowfall is expected throughout the day.
Still ahead from the news station tonight, tired of the wait at the doctor's office? Tonight, a way to bring the doctor to you and fast. We're going to tell you about these house calls coming up.
We're also keeping an eye on a front trying to make its way into South Florida. Will this finally bring us some cooler weather? The entire forecast when we come back.
Thank you, Phil. And later tonight on The Drive, give me a break. Deco's Aubrey Aquino tried to bust a move, but she ended up busting a nail. Don't you hate when that happens? Deco's got breaking news at 7:30.
For news 24/7, log on to WSVN.com.
If you've ever waited in a doctor's office, which I'm sure you have, you know why we are called patients.
But for some people with busy lives, the long wait is finally over. There's now a new service where doctors are once again making house calls. 7's Craig Stevens has more.
We've all done it, sat in a waiting room, watching the minutes, and even hours tick by before we ever see a doctor.
That's probably the worst experience I've had. Sitting in a waiting room for 2 or 3 hours with very sick kids.
Something Monica Moonshine dreaded when both of her kids got sick recently.
They've been having a very persistent cough, which gets worse at night.
I don't like going to the doctor's office.
Instead of dragging them to the doctor or emergency room, Monica decided to call My Home Doctor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Hayut from My Home Doctor.
It's a new service in Miami-Dade and Broward counties where the doctor comes to you within an hour of getting the call.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can call us in the middle of the night, early in the morning.
Very good. Right now, there are 7 board-certified doctors on staff specializing in internal medicine, pediatrics, and emergency. They do a full exam.
That's a busy heart here.
And even prescribe medication. If you're not well in 48 hours, they'll come back for free.
Yes. A dream come true. You have your kids sick, you don't have to rearrange your schedule or anything, and you don't drive anywhere.
We strive to bring one-on-one personal medical attention, whether in the home, in the office, or the hotel room.
Attorney Johnny Pinero called the new service when he felt ill but couldn't get away from work.
The best part of calling My Home Doc was not having to leave my office and getting the treatment I needed in a timely fashion.
Docs made the office call within an hour, giving Johnny plenty of time to get back to his clients.
Okay, guys.
While Monica's kids were able to get at-home TLC.
Saw my ear, heard my heart, saw my nose, saw my temperature.
Cute. That was Craig Stevens reporting most insurance companies are reimbursing 30 to 80% of these visits, but HMOs are not covering them. My Doctor visits average about $350. You know, when I was little, I have 4 brothers and sisters. We used to line up, and the doctor would come over, look down our throat, take our temperature.
You were all sick at the same time?
No, it was like the
Your poor mother.
doctor's visit. But the point is, they came to our house. Those days, it appears, are long over.
Tom and I never talk. This is as much as we've ever talked together on the set.
And in real life, too, by the way.
That's true. I'm going to close the door. Coming up on 7 News at 6:30, the Heat could be without both of their big stars for tonight's game with the Knicks. The latest injury news in 7 Sports.
Then later tonight on Deco Drive, Dwayne's World, party time. D. Wade is celebrating his birthday, and Deco's Pea Patrol tonight at 7:30.
7 Sports, brought to you in part by Palmetto Ford. Weekend warriors, big families looking for a new extended expedition? Palmetto Ford. We know trucks. 305-592-FORD.
Now, time for 7 weather with Chief Meteorologist Phil Varro.
All right, it's a beautiful evening in store. Temperatures are still in the upper 70s, 78 in Fort Lauderdale, Miami 77, and basically 77 over most of western Miami-Dade County, 78 for you in Pompano Beach. The wind is still coming up out of the south, anywhere between 10 and 12 miles per hour, a little weaker between Kendall and Homestead, but that wind is also helping to usher in a couple of showers, some moisture moving in through western Miami-Dade County. Some of this activity could stick around for at least another 15 or 20 minutes. We did have a strong shower just north of Homestead about 10 minutes ago, but that one has died down. Meanwhile, temperatures throughout the southeast, 78 in Key West, 62 in Jacksonville, in the 40s from Wilmington through Memphis, and that cold air is going to stick towards the north. It's going to try to make its way towards the south, but it's going to fizzle out. We do have low pressure sitting here over the Carolinas, high pressure in the western Atlantic. That kept us mild but hazy today. Here's the thinking. That front is going to try to make its way into South Florida, so still warm tonight. It's going to be very, very weak. So by tomorrow, no big change as far as temperatures are concerned. We're still going to be in the low 80s. And then as far as the middle of the week, a better rain chance. We do have this front trying to make its way back into South Florida, and that's just going to trap the moisture in our area. But keep an eye on this cold front right here. This one is promising to push through completely over South Florida and bring us temperatures in the 50s by Friday and Saturday. Here's the marine forecast for tonight. Seas of 2 to 4 feet. The bay with a light chop. For this evening, partly cloudy, some isolated sprinkles. Lows in the 60s and still some patchy fog in the western suburbs overnight. By tomorrow, we could wake up with that fog. Limited sunshine with a few showers in the afternoon. Highs in the low 80s. And here is your extended outlook. That second front pushes through by Thursday. Friday morning, 54, and Saturday in the mid-50s. And that's your 7 on 7 forecast.
Time for 7 Sports with Steve Shapiro.
Wayne Wade is a game-time decision tonight against the Knicks. Sprained his ankle yesterday against Dallas. Shaquille O'Neal will not play again tonight. He has been practicing, but his knee is still not quite ready to go.
I think he's moving forward. I think he's making progress. I don't see any major setbacks. And I think we're moving forward. So he's not ready tonight. He's day to day.
Forward is good, highlights at 10. In the previous 40-year history of the Super Bowl, there had never been a black head coach to take his team there. This year, there are 2. Lovie Smith of your Chicago Bears and Tony Dungy of the Colts. Both men playing it down, but both men also aware of their place in history.
And hopefully, young kids now will say, hey, I might be the coach one day. So that's special.
Being the first black coach to lead his team, of course, our players knew about it, and they wanted to help us make history. I feel blessed to be in that position. Feel even better to be the first black coach to hold up the World Championship trophy.
I bet he does. Bill Parcells says he will not coach again. Parcells leaves the Dallas Cowboys with 1 year left on his contract. Says he's done coaching. Senior Bowl week. We got players in their undies weighing in. That's emasculating. Dolphins GM Randy Mueller is there. New coach Cam Cameron is not. There are 4 Gators there, including Chris Leak, as well as receiver Dallas Baker, and a couple of Canes are there, Kareem Brown and Brandon Merriweather.
It's kind of nice, being out here with all the other college elite players, They're supposed to be the best players in the nation, so, it's fun.
Amy, what do you hope to show all these coaches and scouts?
Basically that I'm the best D tackle in college football, and I deserve to be picked as high as I go. The first 2 rounds, and obviously you would want to be in the first round, but that's what I'm here to prove that I deserve to be there.
You go, Kareem. Yet another Cincinnati Bengal arrested. Cornerback Jonathan Joseph, the 9th Bengal in 9 months to get booked marijuana possession. Is there a contest or something we don't know about? In Australia, American James Blake and Fernando Gonzalez. Blake in the near court. Gonzalez comes to net. Tries to go across, bad move. After losing the first 2 sets, Blake forces a tiebreak in the 3rd. He gets the slam winner, and they keep playing. We'll switch ends. Blake now in the far court. Gonzalez wins the tiebreak 6-3. Number 5 seed James Blake loses to Gonzalez in 3 straight. Ladies top seed Maria Sharapova and Vera Zvonareva. Sharapova in the near court. She screams her way to the first set win, 7-5. Is that her father? I think so. We'll switch ends. Sharapova in the far court. She's still screaming. She's still winning. Sharapova wins in straights, 5-4. Jimmy Johnson will have more competition for the NASCAR championship next season. NASCAR expanding the chase for the championship to 12 drivers. That's up from 10. Also, winners during the regular season will get more points than last year, and the drivers who qualify for the chase will get additional bonus points for races won during the regular season. I hope I explained that the right way and it makes sense. That's it. Lynn and Tom are back with more news right after this.
All right, now the results of tonight's data center question. We asked you, do you think the American Idol judges are meaner this season?
Well, 47% of you said yes, they are meaner. 53% of you said no. We remind you this poll is not scientific, but we want to thank you for your vote. So pretty much even Steven, right? 53
as long
to
as you don't
47.
think we're mean.
Yeah, that's all that counts.
To each other, maybe, and not to you. After Inside Edition, tune in for Deco Drive. That's 7 News at 6:30. I'm Lynn Martinez.
And I'm Tom Haynes. Have a great night, everybody.